morning and welcome to the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24 Abuja. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Here are the headlines.
This case, there is no picture and there is no one. All of us have won.
APC conducts state congress elections.
We have recorded over 1,400 criminal convictions associated with high-profile corruption cases.
Over 1,000 criminal convictions associated with high-profile corruption secured by federal government. Nigerian Air Force condemns fake news alleged paid 20 million naira to armed bandits. COVID-19 vaccination. Federal government gives 6 weeks ultimatum for federal workers. The All Progressives Congress in Kebbi State has conducted its state congress in a smooth manner, with the former acting caretaker chairman Abubakar Muhammad Kana and other 35 party executive members being elected through consensus. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
The national body of the party approved consensus in electing new leaders as confirmed by the chairman monitoring committee, Dr. Osita Ukechukwu, during the affirmation of the new party state executives in Kebbi State. Abubakar Muhammad Kana, the new state chairman of the party, and 35 other members were affirmed by the delegates and other party members at Haliru Abdu Stadium, Birnin Kebbi.
The party executive, please, we're handing over to you to protect the interests of the APC. Congratulations.
Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu and the Minister of Justice Abubakar Malemi, SAN, graced the occasion.
Electoral processes are not without rancor, are not without bad feeling. So I, whom you have bestowed the leadership of the state, and as the party leader in the state, I apologize to anybody who feels wronged.
The overall conduct of the exercise was smooth, as the APC members joyfully celebrated their new leaders that will run the affairs of the party in Kebbi State in the coming 4 years. Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
We have continued to receive the outcome of APC congresses across the country. Correspondent Salwa Khalil Ibrahim brings us details from some states.
Results from APC state congresses shows that in Katsina State, Sani Aliyu Ahmad has emerged new APC chairman. The new executive members of the party emerged through consensus as the party's congress held at Muhammad Dikko Stadium, as reported by Dauda Muhammad. From Yola comes a report that delegates for the election without any hitch were 1,323 delegates elected 36 officials, and the APC in Kogi State has returned unopposed the incumbent state executive officers of the party. The 3 zonal chairmen of the party were, however, dropped during the rancor-free exercise. And in Jigawa State, Awal Muhammad Kazauri reports that Aminu Sani Gumel has emerged as the new state APC chairman in a consensus method adopted by members of the party. From Nasarawa State, Aliyu Tijani Muhammad reports that most of the state caretaker working committee members have been returned to run the affairs of the party in the state. Meanwhile, Bauchi State Chapter of the All Progressives Congress has conducted its state congress through consensus by way of allocating all the state offices among all the 20 local government areas of the state. Chairman of the State Congress Committee, Jibrin Sam, announced that local government stakeholders are to submit names of persons of their choice to occupy the position, as reported by Awal Abdullahi. And Sheikh Muhammad Datti from Sokoto State report that APC elected its state executives peacefully through consensus at the Congress Hall of the party secretariat. The Congress was conducted under the supervision of officials from the party's national secretariat and the Independent National Electoral Commission.
In this case, there is no picture and there is no one. All of us have won.
As leaders of the party, we shall partner, we shall synergize with our elected representatives to make sure that the policies of APC as enshrined in the APC Constitution are implemented right to the grassroots.
Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
And here is another compilation of APC congresses from various zones in the south with different outcome.
Colonel David Imuse has emerged state chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State. Block N9 reports that the relatively peaceful exercise was monitored by the Alhaji Tijani Labaran Edo State APC State Congress Committee.
To accommodate ourselves and put the party first before any personal interest. A team that is ready, willing, and fully prepared to play the role of credible opposition.
I decided to put my interests aside and embrace the decision of the state caucus.
I will do extremely well in the new job that they've given to me.
We are going to unite strongly to take Edo State to the next level. We have given them the confidence they need, and the party leaders have done that.
James Okpara Okocha reports that two factional state chairmen have emerged in the just concluded All Progressives Congress held in Enugu State. They are Ugochukwu Agbala and Adolphus Chidubem. Prince Sunday Fagbemi from Kwara South Senatorial District emerged as chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC in Kwara State. Raliat Ibrahim, however, reports that a faction of the APC also held a parallel congress, which saw Bashir Omolaja Bolarinwa emerge as a consensus candidate. Meanwhile, the chairman, All Progressives Congress caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Governor May Malabuni, has urged members of the party to keep being peaceful and disciplined in their conduct. Two congresses were held simultaneously at two different locations, which produced the two chairmen.
Plateau State Governor Simon Bakola Long says the All Progressives Congress family in Plateau State remains a beacon of democracy and hope for the peace, progress and unity of the state and the nation at large. Mila Butua has the details.
Governor Lalong, who spoke at the APC State Congress in Jos, where members of the State Executive Committee were elected, said the level of maturity and seamless conduct demonstrated by members clearly shows the strength of the party in the state and the unity of its members. Lalong said the peaceful conduct of the State Congress, which was through consensus, shows how committed the members are in galvanizing all differences and working together for the common interest of the party. Lalong said such unity of purpose has been responsible for the continuous acceptance of the party and its consolidation in Plateau State, which accounted for the recent overwhelming victory of the APC in the recent local government and elections, and enabled the party to win in all 17 local government areas. While urging the new state party executives to work in synergy with other party officials at the local government, ward and unit levels, Governor Lalong emphasized the need for them to carry along all members and be fair, honest and transparent in all their dealings. Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives Idris Wase and other APC political leaders described the State Congress as yet another record breaker in the success achieved by the party in the state. They said the successful Congress has clearly shown that the APC remains the biggest party in the state and across the nation with clear capacity for more victories in forthcoming elections. Responding on behalf of the newly elected State ESCO Chairman-elect, Honorable Rufus Baturi expressed appreciation to the members and leaders of the party for electing them. He said the fact that the election done through consensus without any challenges means that the party has fully evolved and is taking major strides in good governance and fairness to the citizens.
Now to other matters. Over 1,400 criminal convictions associated with high-profile corruption cases have been secured by the federal government as Nigeria is to see more in the fight against corruption. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, said this on a visit to NTA Birnin Kebbi.
Fight against corruption is one out of the 3 key campaign promises the President of Nigeria made to Nigerians in 2015, and that got him the mandate as Nigeria's president. The Attorney General of the Federation stated that government will do everything within the law to sustain the tempo so that more high-level corruption cases are won.
As at 2015, when this government came into office, only 103 convictions were recorded. But as at today, even before the 2021 runs out, we have recorded over 1,400 criminal convictions associated with high-profile corruption cases. And then if you are looking at it from the perspectives of legislations as well, Nigeria had indeed came off with a lot of legislations that had indeed translated to the successes we are now recording in the fight against corruption.
On the Nigerian Television Authority as an emerging media giant, Abubakar Malami has this to say.
In respect of all issues of development, you always desire for more development, more progress, and I wish you more in terms of doubling efforts for the purpose of propagating the programs of the federal government. One thing that is certain as far as propagation of policies is concerned is the opposition that are not interested in seeing the successes have greater noise-making capacity, and I expect the NTA to double up in terms of noise-making for the purpose of establishing the successes of this government.
In Birnin Kebbi, Ibrahim Ahmedou, NTA News.
The News at 10 is reaching you live on NTA News 24. There will be more news after the break. Stay with us.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times, Channel 101, Free TV, Channel 703, Yesterday, Channel 419, and TV, Channel 446.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24.
News and more news.
Thank you for staying with us on the News at 10 on NTA News 24. Let's shift our attention to security now. The Nigerian Air Force NAF has condemned what it calls fake news reports circulating on some media platforms alleging that it paid the sum of 20 million naira to armed bandits operating in Jibia local government area of Katsina State in exchange for an anti-craft gun allegedly seized. In a statement refuting the claims made in the Washington Post and Summit Post News, the NAF said there was no basis to engage with bandits or criminals in such a manner, calling the reports untrue and attempt at casting doubt on its good name. This latest false report could be a part of a campaign to further cause insecurity in Nigeria by elements who see the NAF as a threat following series of successful exploits in operations against criminal gangs, while reaffirming its commitment to defending the nation's territorial integrity. The NAF therefore calls on citizens to keep cooperating with security forces and disregard the news as fake. In the same vein, the Nigeria Customs Service has described as ridiculous a video trending on social media claiming that a newly promoted Deputy Superintendent of Customs is a bandit. The public relations officer of the service, Joseph Atta, says the said officer was recruited through a rigorous process in 2011 and has just been promoted to Deputy Superintendent of Customs, but people misinterpreted his excitement. He described as unfortunate the fact that those who are bent on presenting the country in a bad light could take a simple human error during the decoration ceremony to ridicule his person and attempt to extend same to the service and the nation. Atta said, a look at the circulating pictures clearly shows that the officer is not the same person as a pictured bandit and urges Nigerians to disregard the claim as false. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, on its part, has arrested 663 suspected drug traffickers at notorious drug joints across the country. Among the suspects arrested is a fake police officer, a fake soldier, as well as a youth corps member. The raid uncovered assorted illicit drugs weighing over 153,256.8 kilograms. The substances include cocaine, heroin, tramadol, rofinol, and cannabis sativa. The federal government is to build a national orthopedic and accident hospital in Benin, Edo State. Minister of Health Dr. Osagi Hanire gave this information after undertaking an assessment tour of the facilities damaged by a rainstorm at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Uselu, Benin City. Ugochikuka Ona reports.
The rainstorm wreaked havoc in parts of Benin Tuesday evening, including the corporate office of the NTA. The administrative block, crèche, school, and the multi-purpose cooperative building of the hospital are among the areas affected. At the time of this visit, some interim repairs are already on to ensure that services are not stalled in the hospital as a result of the damage.
I'm pleased to see that remedial action is already being taken to protect the resources and assets inside from further damage. The damage has been considerable. There are several buildings involved.
We are very grateful and we are extremely impressed with the response from the government through the minister. That shows that we have a government that listens, and he has seen things for himself, and we are hopeful that very soon we'll have the kind of financial help that we require to bring things back to the way it used to be.
The minister also inspected other facilities in the X-ray room, EEG, and laboratory, and outlined the achievements of government in the health sector. The federal government is also to upgrade facilities at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital and other tertiary health institutions in the country. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
I'm still talking health. Inclusive risk communication strategy and improving access to information have proven to be effective in the control of COVID-19 transmission in Nigeria. This were the opinion of some key players during a presentation of DED 4 COVID-19 Africa Challenge, a documentation of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) in Abuja. Olusheya Debo has details.
Over 18 months since the emergence of COVID-19, governments of countries across the world have had to make tough decisions to sustain response to the pandemic. And in Nigeria, the federal government have continued to institute measures to ensure a balance between preserving lives and livelihoods while addressing the socio-economic disruptions caused by the outbreak. Data for COVID-19 Africa Challenge is a project of the NCDC and its partners to provide scientific evidence to aid public health action for Nigeria's response to the coronavirus pandemic. Data for COVID-19 Africa Challenge also details level of compliance of Nigerians to government's directives during the phases of the pandemic.
We will continue to engage with over the next few weeks and years that will enable us and decision makers at different levels to think about the data, use the data, and bring it into the decision making.
We want to present to policymakers and all other stakeholders findings from the Data for COVID-19 Africa Challenge Nigerian project, and to communicate these findings in a way that everyone understands, including the lay public.
And at this the same nation meeting, health partners discuss on how the findings can enable relevant authorities navigate the COVID-19 response and improve on them. The Nigeria's National Public Health Institute NCDC says it will also utilize the recommendations from the project to strengthen health security for the future. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, federal government workers who are yet to receive COVID-19 vaccination still have 6 weeks to receive their jabs or risk being shut out from their offices across the country. Correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports that the decision to enforce compulsory vaccination in the country, beginning with federal government workers, was conveyed by the chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, after an emergency meeting of the committee in Abuja.
2021. All federal government employees shall be required, all without exception, shall be required to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination or present a negative COVID-19 PCR test result done within 72 hours to gain access to their places of work in all locations within Nigeria and in our missions. An appropriate service-wide advisory / circular will be issued to guide the process.
And talking business now, Nigerian Export Promotion Council has evolved strategies to ensure women inclusion and effective participation in the non-oil export. Details with Comfort Amodu on Business News.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, through the Export Expansion Facility Program, has taken steps to ensure inclusion of women in export business as the council starts a capacity building workshop for about 100 women on export readiness in collaboration with Agro Chains Consult in Lagos.
They make a lot of products that are very, very unique. And because their products are unique, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council considered it very necessary to carve out a division for them, solely for them, dedicated to them, to make sure that we build them up gradually, their capacity through trainings and retrainings.
Nigeria is looking at increasing its export basket. Because there's a lot of technical barriers, it's just very important that our exporters begin to prepare for a time when they can export.
The initiative is geared towards institutionalizing the inclusion of more women-led SMEs into the non-oil export network, targeted at training them on improved branding, packaging, standardized certifications, which will in turn help the businesses access new global markets through its Export Expansion Facility program.
There are a lot of women producing a lot of items, but they not find, cannot, or they don't even know their means through which they can be exported.
Really demystifying export, which is something that for someone like me, I've been trying to get around.
The drive by the NAPC to promote the variation of Nigeria's export for inclusive and sustainable growth is gaining traction as the federal government commits to raising an army of exporters. With Business News, Comfort Amodu.
Constantly changing weather patterns is just one of the many indicators of climate change. Environmental experts blame the changing world on human activities, with the media expected to play a significant role in raising awareness to mitigate the unpleasant consequences. This was extensively discussed at a workshop on the role of journalists in the quest for sustainable environment at the University of Nigeria.
Deforestation, burning fossil fuels, and the rapid expansion of farming, development, and industrial activities are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and changing the balance of the climate system. In Nigeria, increase in temperature, variable rainfall, rise in sea level and flooding, drought and desertification are some of the consequences of climate change. Prompted by the Environment for Development, EFD Nigeria, selected journalists converged on the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to deliberate on the role of journalists in the quest for sustainable environment. They were promptly reminded of the kind of thoughts that lead to human destruction of the environment by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe.
Environmental issues are often neglected, especially in the third world. You know, it got a time where if you build a house and you plant trees and ornamental, people will say you are a bushman.
Similar worries were expressed by the resource persons, but they want journalists to rise to the challenge through well-informed and lucid reportage.
A lot of people will be sensitized about the problem, about policies of government, and about different things, which we as a center is promoting.
The role of the media is to make that message very clear, simple, relevant, so that people can understand what they're saying and be able to adapt to the changes required to keep the environment sustainable.
Victor Ponegu has been reporting the environment for 4 years, but the role of the media in mitigating climate change has never been this clear. Like he, Vivian Emoni has also become a climate change advocate.
Gas is very expensive today, but when you cut the tree, make sure you replace it and then maintain your environment by trimming the trees.
It's also an eye-opener on the need to do more reporting on issues of environment. They need to create more awareness for the people to wake up on the need to ensure sustainability of the environment.
Indeed, planting and nurturing of trees is one easy way to stem the tide of climate change. There are other ways. It's a message that needs to trickle down to every nook and cranny of Nigeria, and these participants are expected to lead the way. From the Resource and Environmental Policy Research Center, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Time for another break on the news at 10. We will be back shortly.
Through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.